The current energy crisis is the worst in recorded history. According to experts, more than half of homes will experience fuel poverty this winter as a result of increased costs. Out of all resources to assist the most needy, for whom this terrible price increase is unaffordable and may cause several deaths. Concerns regarding America's entire energy strategy are growing as a result of sky-high gas costs. There is a good chance that this will be the worst energy crisis since 1973. One advocacy group urges individuals to completely cease paying their energy bills. More devastating than the pandemic will be this financial time bomb. A major humanitarian disaster might start if we don't find a solution to rising energy costs. The most recent prophecies I'll be sharing with you today are terrifying. Surprisingly, 75% of middle-class households claim that their income is insufficient to cover their expenses. I'll be honest with you. Lives are in danger. Many individuals will have to decide between freezing and starvation. I feel it's my responsibility to explain what's occurring, why it's out of control, and how you may best get ready for the impending storm, because Europe is the core of this global catastrophe. As a result, throughout the past year, energy prices have increased, but now we've gone from terrible to catastrophe. Energy costs are predicted to increase by 80% in October. This comes after an increase of 54% in April. This means that the average annual family energy costs are anticipated to exceed $4,157 or £3,549 to put things in perspective. We know this because the regulation firm, Ofgem, sets a price cap for those on a basic variable tariff, which is what the majority of consumers are on every 6 months. Since the cap is determined by the amount of energy used, this does not imply that the cost is the same for everyone. It used to cost me £250 per month to maintain my large-than-average home. But now, that expense has skyrocketed to £560 per month, or £6,720 annually. Just for necessary energy, that comes to around $8,000. Unfortunately, before things improve, they're expected to grow worse. There will most likely be a further 51% hike in January 2023. By the beginning of next year, over half of all homes might be living in fuel poverty. When a household spends more than 10% of their discretionary income on energy alone, that is the situation. Due to the rapid rise in temperature, people will have to decide between heating their homes and eating. Of course, these statistics are mainly focused on the UK, but this really is a global problem. The cost of natural gas has increased 400% throughout Europe over the past 12 months. As a result, numerous energy providers are failing and raising consumer rates. As natural gas prices have increased by 150% this year, this catastrophe is now spreading to American markets. Even though 44% of drivers know they need to refuel soon, this has led them to just fill their tanks halfway. This shows that regular people are more financially challenged than before. The price of gas, including oil, is higher than average in the United States, China, and Brazil, and is currently at its highest level in 7 years. This paints an even starker image. Also suffering are business owners. A local brewery called Timothy Taylor's will see its energy costs rise from $200,000 annually to more than $1 million starting in October. Just consider it. This might be reflected in salary increases for employees. Now that you bring it up, at least wages are rising generally, right? On the surface, salaries did increase by 4.7%. Real wages have actually decreased by 3%, the largest decrease in 20 years, due to the UK's 9.4% inflation rate. Unpaid credit card debt my most dreaded foe, is also expected to increase. Consumer debt is extremely detrimental to the economy, since it causes people to have less disposable income to spend on goods and services, which lowers company profitability and has an effect on the stock market and investors. Also growing in popularity are risky buy now, pay later programs that lock customers into astronomically high interest rates if they miss their payment deadlines. The worst aspect, though, is not that. People whose mortgages are about to expire will need to pass new affordability tests, and because of the increase in the cost of living, they will have to accept an even higher interest rate. Yes, it is correct. Due to their heightened risk, those who can't pay their mortgages will actually have to pay more. Imaginary, huh? The most repulsive aspect is that energy wholesalers are laughing and making record profits. But I'll get to that in a moment. It is not a joke. A lack of assistance could result in thousands of people dying from the cold in their houses. Governments have indeed provided some assistance in the form of credit. That assistance was based on outdated estimates of price increases, so it is now merely a drop in the ocean. To truly have an influence, much more is required. The overwhelming fear of debt will make people incapable of even making themselves a cup of coffee at this rate. However, why is there a global crisis? Well, a number of reasons are to blame. So let's discuss them and discuss the best ways to get rid for the upcoming winter. The system is more intricate than you may initially think, and the companies you often deal with aren't to blame for these outrageous price increases. We can more effectively combat rising energy prices if we unravel the mysteries behind them. An algorithm that takes into account the cost of electricity at wholesale determines the off-gem price cap. Let me know in the comments if you have any other questions about investing. Let's return to the video. Now, the firms that we associate with energy providers aren't the ones actually generating the energy. They serve as middlemen in actuality. Imagine them as a corner store that purchases goods from a wholesaler and then sells them to you with a modest profit. These gains are closely controlled. The wholesalers, however, are not. As a result, the energy sellers are also suffering. Both the cost of the energy they are purchasing and the profits made by the energy producers keep rising. Since there is little competition in the mass energy generation sector, wholesalers are able to set their prices whatever they choose and still make a profit. In addition, there is less energy available as a result of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Before the conflict, Russia was a major supplier of natural gas to Europe. At the end of August, unexpected maintenance is scheduled for the large Nord Stream 1 pipeline in Russia. Gas is sent to Germany and Europe via this pipeline. It's thought to be a power move to prevent us from backing Ukraine. Since you use electricity to cook and heat your home, you might assume that's okay. The gas wholesale price, however, underlines everything because natural gas is utilized to produce power. Additionally, last winter's heavy gas use in Asia and Europe reduced the amount of reserves available to meet demand. This indicates that the EU is now engaged in global competition, which is raising costs everywhere, including the USA. The energy producers come out on top in all of this. ConocoPhillips and Devon Energy, for example, have increased by 22% just in the past month. The United States doesn't appear to be doing anything much to assist. In fact, they've actually prohibited all imports from Russia, which has caused costs to rise even more. Even Biden has acknowledged that protecting freedom would be expensive. After using the community pool, people in several German cities will have to take a cold shower, and 200 of Berlin's most famous tourist attractions will have their lights turned out. The government of France has announced intentions to limit the increase in energy prices to 4%. State-owned energy company EDF is compelled to sell power produced by its nuclear reactors to competing home providers at significantly lower prices than market rates. In fact, Simple Power, one of the largest energy providers in the UK, has requested that the government freeze consumer bills for 2 years. The government would spend $118 billion on this, which is more than it did throughout the pandemic, to pay the salaries of millions of people. The cost of this assistance would be a decade of increased general taxes and significant public borrowing. Politicians must comprehend the escalating popular dissatisfaction. I've noticed a movement called Don't Pay UK emerging even in the UK, and to be absolutely honest, I completely get where people are coming from. To convince 1 million people to stop paying their energy bills is their goal, but as we've spoken about, they're really boycotting the wrong businesses. The energy retailers they're promising not to pay are already making very little money. But the public feels that something must be done because the costs are simply getting intolerable. Neglecting to pay might result in 1 million people losing their energy, and many more going deeper into debt. That is, if they are even permitted to do so after damaging their credit by not making their payments, of course. The solution isn't to steal energy. What can we genuinely do to get ready when it's obvious that energy producers have everyone by the balls? When it comes to paying your energy bills, you have 2 options: receipt of bills and direct debit. Because the price cap is lower, direct debit is the most affordable. You might wind up paying too much, in which case they'll keep your funds as a credit. Because you're spending money that you don't even owe yet, this is detrimental for your cash flow, because they can utilize your money to increase their profits. The energy corporations also adore this. Recently, British Gas unveiled a £25 million customer care program. This is because they are legally compelled to provide you with a number of services such as payment plans and lower costs if you contact them about your financial difficulties. Calling your energy provider to see what they can do for you is always worthwhile. If you want to be confident of your costs, take the offer if it's for a year and isn't more than 145% above your present price cap tariff. It should go without saying that you should aim to reduce your usage by turning off appliances when not in use, and if possible, putting on a jumper rather than cranking up the heat. But since we no longer live in the 1900s, we shouldn't have to. The government must intervene and take decisive action. For households to be supported, more money must be provided. In order to ensure that this money is used appropriately, it must be removed straight from the bills. It is past time to regulate energy producers. Yes, I am aware that the cost of producing electricity has gone up, but despite this, they are still making record profits at the expense of extorting regular people. One thing has become extremely obvious as we reflect on the pandemic. The wealthy got richer. Since the market is being driven by government policy and environmentally conscious consumers seeking to make the transition to a greener, sustainable future, I'm personally increasing my allocation to renewable energy equities. Hope you have learned something from this video. What are your thoughts? Comment down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click the like button and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell for you to be updated on our latest videos. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Want to learn more and be more financially literate? Click on the next videos we have in our channel, showing on the screen right now.